meeting on Facebooks themselves. And I think what's happening is that they're opening up their Facebook and they're not opening up the Katelyn Fulton Agents group. In other words, you're opening up just your personal Facebook, but you have to also open up the Central Wyoming Percy Fulton Agents group, right? And that's when you see the discussions. So a lot of people, when you have your normal Facebook, I don't think the discussions come up because you're not in that group. So, and the second way you can get in there, of course, you can do the link that we sent, but also on your Facebook, there'll be a little bubble. Do we do? I think that little bubble inviting everybody to the Facebook as well is up there too. So how do we do that?
The notification comes on saying Carly is live when Ginny's
Notification comes on Facebook, it shows right there, and this little bubble that comes up on the personal Facebook, right? So everybody follow me there. So I've had a couple of people say to me that they couldn't get on the Facebook there, but that's could be because you're not into the Fulton group, right? You got to go to the Fulton group to be able to get access to the discussions. Okay with that? So I've got a few people here. Everybody want to share what's happening in the last week in the marketplace? Dun, 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 dun. Hey, everybody's shy. Hey. Got bully offers?
Well, I was watching market in Markham specifically for condo townhouses and detached around 2,000 square feet. Whatever was listed was getting offers pretty quickly. And if they held out, they were getting 5, 6, 7 offers.
So you're working with a buyer?
Seller who needs to buy something like move up.
That he's buying though?
Yeah.
So you saw, so Raj told me that the buyer trying to buy something there, he's getting into competing. He's competing?
They're going to have to compete. They don't see anything that they want to compete on yet. So they're getting offers. We kind of set their expectation ahead of time that they're probably going to get offers quickly, and then they're not going to actually see the product that they want to buy at the moment. And so, yeah, we got a bully offer, a good offer. And just prior to that, in the week, 2 properties sold one day on the market, 0 days on the market, both condo townhouses. So under $1 million for those prices. But at least in Markham, for what I've been seeing, things are going quick.
Things are going quick, right?
Huh? No, we didn't sell it. Our guys wanted to wait till after the weekend because we had such a high amount of showings.
Okay, so just to recap there, sort of thinking was that. So you have a seller here and you had offers as well, but you decided to wait?
We had one, so we had listed on Thursday. By the time Saturday rolled around, we had 20 book showings.
Okay, so just so I'm gonna repeat as we go here. So okay, listed on
Thursday
at 20 showings by Saturday.
By Saturday, one bully offer came with that.
Bully offers, so you're holding off offers till when?
We said we're going to hold offers until Friday of this week coming up.
Okay. The bully offer was at asking price or above?
I looked at it and I talked with the agent, and he basically used the HPI. And he justified his price based on HPI, which is higher than what I was originally thinking was the market value, but that's what they're willing to pay. That's the market price now. So my clients liked it.
It was too quick, right? It was too fast.
It was too quick. They had a lot of showings coming up.
The reason I say that, I mean, you know, I had another agent, exact same situation there. They listed for 9,999, whatever it was there, and the client wanted to wait 5 days to, you know, get some exposure before they saw anything. They got an offer the first day for full price. They wanted to wait.
Yeah.
So exactly the same thing. So it's funny how things go. Eh? Like we're telling that the market's tough right now. You get any offer, take it, but things have changed a little bit. So that was 2 stories exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one wasn't even holding off offers. It was offers anytime. They got a full price offer, and the seller just had cold feet, so we had to change a little bit and make it so we had offer dates. And it was priced at market value. Is yours priced at market value as well in your?
I believe so. We priced it right.
So. Right, you engineer it with a low price to try to generate multiple offers, but in your case, another case, they're priced at market value and then got offers right away, and the seller's wait a minute, it's a little too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Side right away, like you don't tell your client right away, like within 5 seconds things accepted, you wait a couple hours, let the guy sweat a little bit as if it took some time to make it happen, right?
And same thing with putting an offer in really quick on something. I would never, if somebody talks to me, I would never offer the $9.99 that they were asking, because they're gonna have that idea. I would go offer $9.69 or
Yeah.
$9.65, and then all of a sudden you get into the play because they start thinking that it's worth more. I would never offer asking.
Right
That
on.
it gets listed.
So Nelson's got a good strategy here. So you got strategies for listing side and strategies for buying side. So in both cases here, one that Raj has and the other one I'm thinking about, the offers were full price. And it scared the seller to think, well, maybe there's more.
Yeah,
So if you're a buyer's agent, you might want to think twice about this. Okay, this is $9.99. You think it's a good bargain. You got a buyer that wants it right away. You rush, you show the property, you rush to get the offer, and you give a full price offer right away, and all of a sudden the seller wants to wait. So most cases the same. So what Nelson is saying is correct. You don't commit at $9.99. Commit at $9.50, $9.60. Play around a little bit. Let the guy work it through a little bit here, even though your client's prepared to do it. Let's think strategy. Right? That makes sense because it happened twice. So you're describing to me what your situation is, exactly the situation.
As soon as they saw that number first, that's the number now in their head, and they think everybody coming for the showing is gonna have that number, and it's like.
Yeah,
oh,
and in both
maybe.
cases, you can't put your own neck on the line. You can't say, well, Mr. Seller here, this is the best offer I take, or Mr. Seller, let's wait for something next week, because you don't know, right? So the conversation with your seller is, hey, you got three choices. You gotta accept the offer, you can sign the offer back, or you can let it go. So
You feel
so
bad if
so
you don't see
so
this
just
number
make sure
again?
you don't put yourself in a situation where you got egg in your face when come next Friday when offer dates come in, the offers come in at $9.50, and you want to get $9.99, and the offer you didn't take was higher. So
Raj, you said that this was even higher than what you expected, correct?
I pegged my value. We did our search. We did our research on it, and I still stand by my number. I think most people are willing to pay the number that we decided. This guy she just followed the HPI, and
But he went higher than that number.
he went like $5,000 higher, which is not like he's still almost $100,000 over our asking price.
so $100,000 more than I said, but still scared your seller thinking, gee, there's more money.
Somewhat, some way. And then again, after they're wondering, is this boat like there were some all additional changes that the bully offer had to make in order to make it acceptable for us besides price. So we gave them the feedback, and they're not going to cut. They weren't competing against anybody at that point. So they didn't really come back. They said maybe we'll try after the weekend, because they're also looking at a low inventory. Maybe more something else comes to the market too. You're not the only game in town, perhaps.
They still need to buy them.
Just
Everybody needs to buy something.
yeah. So on the nuts and bolts side of the situation there, I want you guys to remember, on Broker Bay, we have a choice. When you get a listing, you've got a bunch of choices. You have to tell us how to handle your listing. One of the choices that you've got to make is, if you have a listing, you have a registered offer, do you let other people that are showing the property that there's a registered offer? Everybody know what I'm talking about? So if you've shown a property and that property gets an offer registered, you get an email saying, hey, there's one offer registered, two offer registered, whatever it might be, right? You have control over that, whether or not you're going to let everybody know that or not. So you have to think about how that's going to go. So we had a situation where we already turn off. The default is turn off. We don't want anybody to know this offer is registered unless that person's actually registered an offer themselves. No sense telling everybody in the world you got a registered offer, especially if the offer is a piece of garbage. You're trying to get, you got $1 million listing and you got an offer coming in at 700,000 to be ridiculous. You're going to tell everybody in the world, oh, by the way, you got an offer. Then some guy is thinking about coming in, doesn't want to compete, and he doesn't want to compete against the offers. He just disappears. So it's far better off not to tell anybody that there's an offer registered until you have to. So a situation where we had a listing and we had an offer date, and it was turned off, and then because we had a bunch of offers, it was turned on. So every time an offer is registered, everybody was notified that there was an offer registered, another offer registered, blah, blah, went on and on and on. Didn't sell that night because the seller wanted more money. So it was relisted, but that direction was not changed. So 2 weeks later, when we start getting offers, all of a sudden one offer, two offers registered, all of a sudden it's doing exactly what we didn't want to do, because it was turned off, and then it was turned on and never turned off again. Are we following me here? So think things through when you're trying to do offer presentation, right? Just understand what's going on.
And that's permitted, right? You can't turn it off.
Yes, you can turn it off. Yeah, it's so when you do your activity report, we're in the last page. It says right there, you want to notify people of offers registered, yes or no? Everybody okay with that? Did you see something bad? The rule states, the rule states, forget about the software. Okay, everybody's working on the software. Forget about the software. I don't care what software. In the RICO rules say that anybody that has an offer registered needs to know how many other offers there are registered. Somebody has not registered an offer, they're not in the game. They're not playing.
That constitutes interest, is you registered an offer
Registered offer is
in the property,
all right.
showing his book.
Showing book.
They
Unless
ask you.
unless you've got something on there that says, hey, offer's gonna be next Friday, and you've changed to Thursday, then you gotta let everybody know that's showing the property.
Right.
All right. But there will be a point in time where you want to let everybody know there's an offer, but not right away.
No.
Last thing I want you to do is to look at the 700, you're trying to get $1 million and get a 700,000 offer, you're gonna all of a sudden put a stop and everybody know for an offer that's not gonna go anywhere, why bother? Right? Don't even bother with it. So look at it and think it through, right? Yeah, good. Okay, got those two. I mentioned to you before about how Toronto Real Estate Board is allowing other people to put listings on the Toronto Real Estate Board without being a Toronto Real Estate Board member. Barry, right? So now I've seen Peterborough and Quinte Board are starting to do the same thing. So if you have listings in those other districts, double check and see what the current rules are, but some people are changing the interboarding fees. So I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall that maybe it should be transparent to everybody. If somebody's got a listing in, don't ask me why, but listing in London, it should show up in Toronto too. I don't know why. Well, but if you got this stuff coming down, it's rules like that. Trib membership, 70,255. 70,255. Just off topic here, I'm just going through, I've got a whole bunch of stuff here, but I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna show the agent on TV. 22 homes sold. Everybody see that? It's just a flyer. It's actually in full color. It's somebody goes to my house. This goes to my house. It gets delivered probably once a month, maybe twice a month sometimes. No, I should say once a week, sometimes twice a week. I get flyers. You guys get flyers in your houses too? So if you're thinking about doing farming, you look at what else someone else is doing, see if it's working for them, you do the same thing, right? Anyways, 22 homes a month. That's pretty good, eh? Would that impress you?
In a month?
Yeah, it's pretty good, eh?
Full office.
That's the entire real estate board.
It's a real estate.
Okay.
The entire real estate board sold 22 homes.
17,000.
The entire real estate board sold 22 homes in that
This
month.
guy's claiming.
He didn't sell any.
Yeah, he didn't sell.
He didn't sell any. What's the impression?
That
He's
he's
in business.
So be creative. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying there's nothing
He
wrong.
didn't say anything. He didn't say anything.
No, this is not
He didn't say anything on there. He just called me.
He's saying this. He didn't say I sold. He just.
Okay, listen, Jobs.
Yo, there you go, Seneca. What do you think, man? 3,100 sales in January. Wow.
Wow.
Sold. I think there's gonna be a lot of flyers like that going out this afternoon.
I know most of Claire will get a lot of.
Okay, so you got your right brain people and your left brain people. Left brain people say which property, when did it sell, where? Right brain think, hey, great idea. Right? Especially if you're farming in an area, right? Yeah. Okay. I read a book 100 years ago called Market Warfare.
Oh, 100 years ago?
Yeah, 100 years ago. And it was called Market Warfare, meaning like this is a war, man. Come on, like we're in the trenches here. Let's get to it, right?
You still have that book?
Still have that book. It's called, it's probably all ratty by now. Okay, so let's go. Last month we came into sales. Okay, so January 2023, the sales numbers came out. The newspapers reported it all. What was it? It's all good news or bad news? And you have to take every bit of news. You have to twist it so that it's to your advantage of whether you're buying with the seller, you're dealing with the seller, you're dealing with the buyer, whatever it might be, right? So the sales themselves, unfortunately, were 3,100 for January, which was minus 44.6% from January last year. But more importantly, 3,100 sales was less than the sales we had in December. And December is traditionally the lowest month of the year. And it's also lower than April 2020. Does April 2020 mean anything to anybody?
Yeah, COVID.
Pandemic time.
We shut down in March and April was, so the sales for January were actually less than they were in April 2020 when we were shut down. So does that mean that it's the end of the world? Or does that mean that the market's got this huge pent up demand ready to go? I think it's the latter. I think there's huge pent up demand. And I'm seeing it by multiple offers. I'm seeing it by what Raj is talking about, and I'm seeing it in all types of different things. I'm not saying that the market's going to take off, but it's going to get to a point where it's going to be normalized, and then things are going to be normal, and things are going to happen, right? Active listings, for instance, we've got 9,200, almost 9,300 active listings. Last year we had 4,100, so active listings are up 124%, more than double. So that's good news. So that even though there may not seem like a whole lot of inventory, there is more inventory now than there was this time last year. Months of inventory is 3 to 1. Last year was 0.7. Last year was stupid. And I've got it written down here someplace, but it's in my head. When you see the numbers that the newspapers are reporting for the first quarter of this year versus the first quarter last year, the numbers are going to look horrible. Minus 44%, minus 50%. Why? Because January of last year was the biggest, highest price in the history of Toronto real estate market.
Right.
So everything's going to look bad. So you've got to use it to your advantage. Mr. Seller here, you're waiting. What are you waiting for? The market's at its whatever it is, right? Mr. Buyer, what are you waiting for? Let's get going, right? New listings were actually 76. So new listings were about the same as last year, about 7,700. Average prices are starting to come down. The newspapers are going to pick up on this. The newspapers are saying, hey, the average price was $1,038,000 last year, and it was $1,002,000. So it's down 16%. That's the first year-over-year decrease in prices we've seen for 15 years. I just said that. Does that make sense? So that's the first time we've seen year-over-year drops, only because January, February last year was so strong. So again, this is the way it's going to be, and that's where you have to sort of have a look at it, right? Prime lending rate 6.45 this time last year, 2.45. GTA, this is the newspapers. GTA average home prices plunge at a rate not seen since the 1990s.
Sensational.
Who was selling real estate in 1990s? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we all survived the 1990s. Right?
They are still in the office. Very optimistic.
And 1990s seemed to me, you guys tell me, seems to me 1990s was worse than it was today. Would you agree or not?
What was the interest there?
Yeah, about 13, 12%, 13%. But it's all, everything's relative though. Everything's relative with that.
We had a cryptocurrency.
But you know what? It came back. 1990. It took 7 years for it to come back, but it did come back, and here we are today. So it's not the end of the world, but I think 1990 was worse. They're saying it's the same. I don't think it's that much. GTA Home saw the biggest year-over-year price drop on record, January 16.4% drop. Steep cost of borrowing costs is the purpose or the reason why. Even during March of 2018, the drops were only 14%. The prices, right? And March 2018 for us wasn't. I know the North America was tough, but for us it was only about 6 months or so, or 3 months of that.
2008.
18.
It was like half a year.
8. Yeah, 2008, right? No, 18, sorry.
That's where stress
18.
tests and all that.
2018 is stress test there, yeah, so they dropped it, that's right. I love these headlines, so I don't want to give negative news, so it means it's gonna be real short. What's the heading here say? GTA home prices plunge at a rate not seen since 1990. Toronto housing market enters deep freeze with phrase down. So deep freeze again. Sales in Toronto housing market ground at the slowest pace since the first month of the pandemic as buyers contend with some of the highest borrowing costs seen in 15 years. 3,100 homes. Despite the recent pullback, buyers are still facing a much more expensive market than a few years ago. Prices are 28% higher than they were during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, sorry. Many economists expect costs to have come down even more the wider swath of buyers afford homes. So just saying that even though it's frozen, it's not the end of it. Toronto's real estate market is looking as cold as the weather is right now. They go on and on and on, right?
Mhm.
A year of living dangerously, how the housing market went from euphoric highs to major burden. So it went up and down, up and down. They go on and on. I've read quite a few things on here and that it is all negative, but I don't know, how do you turn it into positive? What are buyers and sellers doing right now? They're waiting. Everybody I'm talking to want to wait. Want to wait for what? Talking to an agent today and they've been contacting their past clients. Hopefully you have been as well. They've I think he told me on the weekend he contacted 30 past clients. This fellow's been in the business for over 25 years. So just to give you a hint there, if anybody's new in the business, so just on the weekend there, because you can't get a hold of everybody during the week, he spent the time on the phone, got a hold of 35 people. And he said most of the people are telling him that they want to wait for the interest rates to come down. Is that what you guys are feeling too? Is that what you're hearing? Interest rates or prices?
That's right. Right. Like, which
Because
one?
let's assume it's prices. We can't do any interest rates. So if you've got clients that are thinking that we're waiting for the prices to come down, what a perfect time to talk about it. Prices are down 16%. So if you're thinking about buying, now it's time. When we hit the bottom? I think we hit the bottom already. I think we're at the bottom now. So you might get all those people thinking, hey, now is the bottom. We're right there. Will Toronto home prices hit a low before rebounding? Prospective home buyers GTA may be wondering when they should expect a decline in house prices and sales to bottom out as after the Bank of Canada raised its key overnight rate. So they did increase their rates by 0.25%. They did that last Tuesday. But they also said that they think that that's going to be it. They think that maybe that might be the end of the little increases. They're going to keep an eye on the inflation, but they think that's about it. Just those words themselves should be enough for you to motivate somebody to get
I
going.
think it's really
Right.
hitting people in the head now. If it's, oh, it looks like they're done.
Right, they're all done here. It's time to get going. So, Mr. Buyer, if you think about buying, prices have bottomed out. They're down 16%. If you think about buying now, might be sooner than later. Right? What do you tell a seller that's on the fence?
So
Good time to buy. Right? But you can't buy till you sell your place. So let's sell your place and let's buy something.
this might be the hottest, the most of your house is worth for the next couple of months. So.
Canadians are lemmings, right? Like we follow each other. So as soon as one person starts buying, we all start buying. You just have to get that first group to do it, right? And they're still talking about immigration. They're still talking about all the positive things that are going on. So going on with what I just said there, when have they bottomed out? Everybody's saying, everything I'm reading, all the experts are suggesting that the prices will drop 30%. Then one guy's saying that they've only dropped 16.6, so they're only halfway there. Right? So how would you turn that? So Mr. Seller, if you're thinking about selling, looks like we're down 16%. You're saying it might go down 30%. You might want to consider selling before it hits down that 30%. That would be the argument I guess I'd probably use. I'm grasping for straws here, but that'd be one answer. And in some Southern Ontario places, 30%'s already happened. Guess where you think it's happened? Where do you think prices have dropped 30% already?
Here.
Where? Peterborough? Yeah. Where else? Scugog?
St. Catharines.
Brock, Uxbridge, King,
St. Catharines.
On the outskirts.
Hamilton.
Deal, yeah,
Windsor got smashed.
Durham, Peel, York, all the outside, everything outside of some regions are unique. In Innisfil, for instance, the December 21 to December 22 saw prices drop at 48%.
Wow.
No nation like speculation, but.
Sorry, take that back. It increased 40%. You can't really use averages, right? Because all you have to do is sell a couple of $5 million houses and the average gets screwed up, right? But what the point I'm trying to make here, we're not trying to be scientists here, we're trying to be artists, and we're trying to take the data to deliver it to your client, okay? We're not here to,
You're right.
this is a sales meeting, right? We're trying to do sales and get our people to buy and sell. We're not here to analyze the economy,
So 22 houses have sold.
right? So 22 houses sold in 1 month.
Pretty good.
Go to computer post 21.
Okay, so now they're getting into what to do here. Days on the market, by the way, we're 29 days on the market, but actually, if you take the cancel relist, the days on the market were 41. So if you got a guy saying, well, I'm thinking about selling my property, when do you want to sell? Well, I want to sell in April, well, we better get it on the market today, because it's going to take 40 days to sell. Not like most people here that have been in the business back in 2022, if we said 41 days in the market, you die because you were panicking after 3 days on the market. That's right. 3 days in the market, property hasn't sold. What's wrong? Right. So now we're at 41 days in the market. So it's a whole different conversation, right? So gotta, pay attention to that. New report, this is serious. Increasing large down payments could help GTA homeowners weather downturn. Now, back in 2022, we talked about how the bank of mom and dad came into play. Did you guys ever see much of that? Did you see where the parents lent the down payment, and parents lent money for the kids to move forward? And the prices unfortunately were at the peak, and the parents were giving money, and that money's now gone. Right? If the parents gave somebody $200,000 for down payment on a property, and they bought a property for 1.3, that property today is worth 1.1, the $200,000 is gone.
Make it up in babysitting fees, right?
So, right? But they're still saying here that need to do even today. Even today, it should still happen. It should still happen today where people are helping the kids, and large down payments we're going to affect it. I did something here. I don't know if you guys can keep up with me on this one here. This is when I started getting my calculator out. January 23, starting off the year that 2022 ended, right? So we know that. Another hike in interest rates has continued to be the damper on the real estate business. We know that. January sales, as I said, 3,100. They're less than what they were in December, less than what they were in April 2020. Average sale price $1,038,000 is minus 16%. But I think we've hit the bottom. Because the Bank of Montreal is saying, the Bank of Canada is saying that they may not increase anymore. I think that's one of the things that are important. I believe that the prices have stabilized. If you look at the average prices over the last 6-7 months since July, the average price was $1,073,000. The average price in January is $1,038,000. So so for the last since July, it's hung around that $1,050,000 plus or minus mark. So I think, in my opinion, in my mind, the prices actually have stabilized.
This could just be lower end.
And since July, we probably had at least 4 increases in interest rates. I know there was eight overall, but 4 since July. So, and the prices have stabilized. So I don't think the price is going to go down anymore. It's just a matter. I think that's it for the price drop. Now, if you take the, I don't know how you can convert this into sales pitch here, but anyways, if someone in February bought a house for 1.334, that was the maximum price. So somebody bought a house for that price, and they would have had at that time a 1.9% interest rate. Is that fair? In February 22. A 20% down payment would be $266,000. So their payments would have been $4,467. Anybody know anybody that has $1 million mortgages? Your clients? What's the average mortgage? Anybody know? I don't think it's $1 million.
It's gotta be close to that, though.
With 20, what in February, 1.334 property with 20% down, 266. You had a mortgage worth $1,067,000. And that mortgage would cost $4,467. So now, today, that same house, is worth $1,038,000. Right? It was 1.334 in February. Today it's $1,038,000.
Yeah, on the list.
300,000 less, right? If you use the same $266,000 down payment, not 20%, but $266,000 down payment, right? Your mortgage payment would be at today's rates, 5.45 rate would be $4,684 or $200 difference. So you see how, and I've said this before, how your TDS and GDS affect prices. So the higher the interest rates go up, the lower you qualify for. So that's what's forcing the prices down. So if a guy could afford to pay 1.334, you can certainly agree to pay 1.38 even at the new interest rate. Everybody okay with that?
You can do it.
So the prices have already adjusted to the interest rate. So the interest rates should not be a problem anymore. So you just have to be able to explain that to your clients. Let's assume the opposite. Let's reverse that. Because I've said that the prices are near the bottom. I don't know if I can make this happen. So if you took the same payment, so if I take that same payment in February 22 at 44.67, so the client can qualify for a payment of $4,467, right? But rather than at 1.9%, if I take that payment and take it 5.45%, you understand what I'm saying here? Then that guy would qualify for a mortgage of, sorry, and again, he would qualify for a mortgage of $735,000 plus a $266,000 deposit. He's back up to $1 million. So I think we've got a little bit more on the average price to go down a little bit, but not much. But I think it's going to bottom out around $1 million, based on the GDS and TDS. You got intense. You really got to think that one through, man. Okay, let's do Cole's note on that. So somebody that qualified paying $4,000 back in February at 1.9 will qualify for a mortgage of $1,030,000, whatever it was. Today he qualifies for a mortgage at 735, but he still has the same down payment, 266. So he's still back up to $1,010,000 or so versus $1,034,000. So $1,334,000. So it's pretty close. So I would take interest rates out of the conversation. That's not something that you have to concern yourself with, because the prices have adjusted to the interest rates. You got to run those numbers. Nobody believes me on that one, right? Okay. Anyways, you really want to get the sellers to sell. This guy here is saying that the Canadian real estate prices are to fall lower, and in worst case scenario, they're going to fall down to 2014 prices.
How did he arrive at that?
He's an economist.
You gotta be right.
Smart guy. Smart. They're just based on GDP. They're saying the GDP is based on ours. It's a number. They just threw it out there. But Mr. Seller, you might want to consider selling your house now. You might think that the price is going to rebound, but this guy's saying here the prices aren't going to rebound until, they're going to go back to 2014 prices. So if you're thinking about selling, you might want to do it sooner than later. All right. And I always have two folders, right? One for my buyers, one for my sellers. Right.
But if the same.
As
same
I'm-
client
as I'm-
buying and selling.
As I'm saying here again, this is a sales meeting, right? So we're talking about selling, and people do, the guys that bought in 1990 and paid all that big money for it, they're okay today, right? And I've said this 100 times that you're not buying stocks. Real estate is not a stock market. Real estate is a place to raise your kids and live and have schools and whatever else. So the increase and decrease in prices are the side effect. Everybody has to live somewhere, so they want to live someplace. So home ownership is the way it goes, right? Home ownership horror. My mortgage is up for renewal. Anybody have any clients like that? So the problem that the renewal guys have is double-edged sword. The renewals coming up, and lots of people that bought in 5 years ago, they're coming up. People that are unbearable, they're already up. They're saying here, I was surprised that Statistics Canada says that 35% of mortgages, sorry, 35% of all houses had a mortgage. That means 65% did not. Yeah. Yeah. Does that surprise anybody?
Yeah.
No, but that's like across Canada, right?
So it says here an estimated 1.1 million Canadian households have renewals coming up this year. So there's 1.1 million have renewals coming up this year, which could be one of your clients. They may be faced first shock, so you maybe want to talk to your past clients and see what the situation is. The problem they've got here is that there's been 8 consecutive rate increases, a sharp jump in the monthly payments. Many are now in uncharted waters beyond this, even the stress test. So even the stress test didn't protect a lot of people here, right? And let me just read this. According to Bank of Canada report, November 22, variable rate mortgages made up about 1/3 of the mortgage debt, up from 20% from pre-pandemic. So 20% pre-pandemic, 30% after pandemic got a variable mortgage. And the reason why they did that is because the only way they could qualify for the 1.334 is on the variable mortgage. They couldn't qualify based on the fixed rate. So now doubled it sort of too, again, because now they had to use the variable to qualify, but now the variable's gone up, so now they don't qualify. So that's gonna be dangerous, right? And then a bunch of them did also buy a 3-year fixed rate. That seems to be what everybody's suggesting today, by the way. They're suggesting for, if I'm gonna get a mortgage today, the suggestion is have a 3-year fixed.
The mortgage guy told me yesterday, just advise people to go with the short term because the rates are going to drop.
So Shanaz, you're saying that mortgage broker told rates are gonna drop, so do short term. Is 3 years short term?
Could be
Could be, right?
shorter than 5.
So according to survey 2019, there were about 16 million Canadian households that year in 2019. So that makes those 16 million households in all Canada. So every household's got 2 people living in it. So it's about 32 million in Canada, right? 37 million, so it's probably 2.5 people. About 35% of those households had mortgages. Yeah. So 65% did not. So this goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, that interest rates affect the first time buyers and affect a lot of people, but they don't affect majority of people. Majority of people don't have mortgages, or more, the old folks and that they're buying and selling without mortgages. So the interest rates mean nothing. So don't yourself get caught into the whole thing. When interest rates are high, nobody's buying, nobody's selling. Yes, they are. Some people aren't affected by interest rates. Or if they have like $200,000 or $300,000 mortgage, they're not affected by it. So don't be discouraged that way. And then part of the problem, of course, is that if they have the mortgage and the mortgage broker goes to them, sort of the bank goes to them, so here's your new rate. They say, oh, I don't like that rate, and go shopping. All of a sudden they can't shop because they don't qualify for the stress test. They can't even qualify to buy their own house. So basically they're at the mercy of the bank, where the bank's going to give them.
It's kind of a different spread between the renewal rates for the big banks at the moment too, and it's like 1% and some places.
So the renewal, yeah. So somebody's saying here, the difference between a renewal and getting a new mortgage could be 1% difference because they know they've got you, maybe.
Just between the banks, the rates for renewal are different.
Okay, and then, so this is good news or bad news, depending on which side of the fence you're on. They're saying here that new construction condo sales hit a 15-year low. So the new construction, apparently there's only two projects apparently that were introduced in the last little bit. Other than that, the people are holding off the new construction. What they're saying here, and this is the good part, is that because these things aren't being built today or purchased today, that means there's going to be a bit of a shortage come 2 years from now, 3 years from now in the condo market. Because they're not building today for what's going on. So if you're thinking about buying, now's a good time to buy because the builders aren't building as much, and it's going to be a better investment for you in the future. No? The pre-sale launch for the second half of 2022 was at 7,600. It's half of what they normally have at 16,000. But condo developers are still bullish despite the headwinds. They're still saying things are fine. And investors, make up 20 to 30% of homeowners in some provinces. I know certainly Ontario, we said 1 in 4, 25% of the buyers out there were investors. And we talked about this before. You want to talk to your past clients that were investors. I'm sure you guys have investors that that have bought properties and renting them out or what they're doing. So you want to keep in touch with those folks. Maybe it's time to sell those things because like even though the interest rates have gone up from what 0.25 to 4.5, so has your savings accounts, so is your GICs, your interest on your deposits, things like that. So going to an investor thinking that maybe having a negative cash flow in a condominium that you don't believe is going to increase in price. Once you just cash out, put that money in a money market or something there, you're gonna make as much money or more. So I'm not saying whether it's good strategy or bad strategy, but you've got individuals that when they bought that place, they're only getting 0.25% interest on their money in the bank. So they thought they might get it invested. Now they're getting a little bit more. Maybe changes things. So it's certainly a conversation to have with those investor clients. Bidding wars, bully offers, we're starting to see that. So that tells me the market's still out there. A lot of guys are talking about getting bully offers and that's happening. Anybody want to buy a nice investment property in Muskoka? $10 million. It's a motel right on the lake.
With the lake.
Right on the lake. It's in Gravenhurst. It's got 9 bedrooms. Sorry, 50 rooms, 9 bedrooms, 30 washrooms. Looks like about 25 bathrooms. So it's a hotel, right on the lake. So if somebody just wants to invest in a lot of acreage there in Muskoka, we have a client that's got $10 million kicking around. No,
I gotta have, somebody's gonna have to drive the getaway car for them.
too bad the foreign buyers can't buy it. Did you guys read that? They're pre-construction guys. I don't know. I feel sorry for these guys, but then maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. But these guys are complaining that that Mattamy Homes, and Mattamy Homes has done this before. Mattamy Homes sold some luxury homes in Oakville for about $2.6 million. And this one guy they interviewed bought 2 of them, one for himself, one for his wife, for their family.
This is a lawyer, right?
The lawyer
This
guy.
is the lawyer,
And
right?
now what Mattamy's done is they can't sell their standing inventory, so they've actually reduced the price by $200,000 on the same unit this guy bought, but they won't give this guy a break. They're making him pay full fare. So he's saying it's not fair. The government should come in and protect me. The government should have something in there that says that that if they can't drop the price, or if you drop the price, they should be able to get out of the original deals or something, right? And of course, the backlash saying that nobody complained when the guy made $200,000 profit. Now why are they complaining when they're losing 200,000? And he's a lawyer. And he bought one, bought it for his family, bought 2 for his family.
Well, that was funny. They're saying like this guy's a lawyer in charge of people's transaction, and he doesn't even know who's in charge of changing rates.
He put $800,000 between the 2 properties, and he's seriously considering giving up his deposit and walking away. Wow. I don't believe that for a minute.
Is he the same guy that said we can't afford to take my family to a restaurant anymore?
I think it's too far into it there. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not getting the deals for real
Yeah,
estate
good.
now.
BC's having the same problems with people selling properties under like people selling properties that they don't own through that title insurance. So that's happening out in BC as well. We had one last week, and we used to talk about this stuff all the time. We don't talk about it all, but just if you guys are selling houses in the beaches, you're selling houses in East York, selling houses downtown, you have to be concerned about 2 things. One would be the termite problem in let's say the beaches. You guys, anybody here sold any properties in beaches areas? So it's something that we haven't sort of talked about for a while, but you need to be aware of that there's areas in Toronto that have termite infestations. And if you've got to listen, you got to double check and make sure it's not in the area. And it's a different inspection. A home inspection is different from a termite inspection. So what's that company called? Aetna? Aetna. Aetna has a whole database. on the neighborhoods and not to have the issue, so beware of that. Second thing in downtown properties is the mutual drives. We don't talk about mutual drives very often here, or even links for that matter. But mutual drive, be careful if you're selling property in East York and those areas that do have mutual drives, make sure it is a true mutual drive. Be nice to get a survey, make that happen. Mutual drives are like the old house, you know how you've got enough space between two houses for one car to go down. And in the back, you've got the garages, so people will come in, they'll drive between the houses and park their car in the garage in the backyard. A lot of those garages have fallen down over the years. I mean, they don't even, like, they're probably not even existing. But you do have the, you still have the old rights of way or mutual drives. If you've got any properties downtown, talk to Nelson and myself, just make sure that you don't get in trouble. I know somebody that years ago, they used to park cars in their backyard, and this one neighbor, this guy, he built this brand new garage for 2-car garage. He liked working on cars, wanted heated, he spent all this money on this place. So he's driving his cars between the two houses, and the guy next door noticed his basement was cracking a little bit from the car going. I felt maybe the car was compressing the earth or something, and maybe pressuring against the wall of his place and saw some cracks. So he checked the survey, and he found out that there wasn't mutual drive. Everybody thought it was mutual drive, but it wasn't. They just used it. So the guy put a fence right down the middle of the lot. So this guy built this brand new, perfect 2-car garage, heated in the backyard, and all he can do is park his lawnmower in it.
Oh,
It's applied now.
Right,
Isn't that the
so
one which went to court?
no, this one didn't go to court, but one did go to court. The court ruled that the right of way does take precedence. So just be careful in some of those types of stuff. And vacancy taxes for clients, that's past us now. Somebody told me that they changed the form a little bit. I was a little surprised when I went in there. They asked for the tenant's name and the tenant's phone number. And apparently now they're not asking the tenant's phone number. At the time, I thought that's kind of rich. I mean, these guys are so hidden with privacy now. Why they asked us to give the phone numbers? I thought that was odd, but now they apparently have taken that off. You would have had the opportunity to talk to everybody about that. Hopefully you did. Yeah, did anybody do that? Anybody doing that vacant tax? Anybody get any feedback from their clients? They extended the deadline to report, right? Do you know when?
The end of the month, they said.
End of this month? Did anybody talk to any clients? Anybody say, well, thank you, or I didn't know, or
That's really good.
save
That's
me,
good.
or I think
A lot
that
of
was a
people
good,
asking if
I
it's
think it
gonna
was a
come
good
to-
touch point, right?
Yeah, a lot of people asking if it's gonna come to the other regions too then.
It's in Ottawa
Hamilton,
today, no, it's in Ottawa today and Hamilton next
year.
year.
But yeah, what do you think about the other areas you work and?
It's possible, why not?
Possible.
Yeah. Once they see how much money they can collect, they'll do it, right?
Well, I guess that's the thing, right? When you're not selling as many houses, they're missing out on the income. 15, 1.5.
Maria sent you guys a thing last week regarding a reduction in your fees by $35.
Strictly.
Gee. You can have dinner.
You're living like a pioneer.
Treb now has some courses. I know that Treb is doing in-house courses and that now. So if you want to go down and do some Treb courses, you can, or you can do it by a webinar as well. There's one coming up on February the 10th, which is pre-construction homes. It's by Mark Weisletter. He's going to be doing a webinar thing on that. So if you want to get up to speed on what's going on with pre-construction, it's weird. Pre-construction, there's when you do the assignments for pre-construction, there's more than one way to skin the cat, and depends on, it's funny how people get it. People get really up on their back a little bit when we do those forms, those numbers. Everybody does it different. We do it one way, someone else does it another way, someone else does it a different way again. So maybe it's a good idea to go to this Mark Weisler and see what he thinks. Something going on there. Because you don't know whether or not you're going to be given the money on an assignment. You return the deposit right away, you get the profit right away. And then the math itself. Also on February 17th, now for weeks, Treb is doing a Market Outlook event in Durham Region. It's going to be at the Ajax Convention Center. So if you want to go to a live show, you can do that on February 17th and see what those guys are up to. As far as numbers go, we've gotten how much? So on February 27th on the weekend, 27th, 28th, 29th, we had 248 appointments. And the last weekend, we had 345 appointments,
More.
quite a bit more. So the market is starting to go the right direction. Unfortunately, what's OT again? Offers? Unfortunately, offers type were not as much, so. 9,600. Not enough.
Great answer.
Good
That is a great answer.
Mhm.
Need more
We
listing.
need more listings, huh?
I open my fridge, I take a look.
Not, well, okay, so I did the numbers for February 5th. February 5th, it's only 5 days, you really can't count it, but February 5th, the sales would come in around minus 56% for everything, minus 60% for condos, minus 54% for freeholds, but it's only 5 days, so.
Mm.
Still takes a while, things get geared up,
Spring
right?
is next month.
Isn't family days coming up soon?
It's one, I think, the Monday.
20th?
That's not a staff holiday.
Valentine's Day before that.
Yes, it is. It's a pure Trudeau day.
Pure
Or no, what are the other Trudeau's? Justin Trudeau day.
I guess I'll have dinner with my family.
All right, so Wednesday now, the girls are actually down doing another, they're at an event right now. Hopefully bring back good information, but we do have Ginny kicking in on Wednesday. So how are you guys doing with that Wednesday stuff? We had the Moxie Works, we had the email stuff. Did everybody get their Moxie Works stuff together? Did you figure it out? Seen a couple of things here and there? Got the emailing things out. Ginny, a lot of people got involved in with the Moxie Works stuff, right? And then we've got I think last week we did the tax thing with yeah, we did that the tax now with Ruby. And then this Wednesday, we're gonna do a phone calling event again. Now, we did that 2 weeks ago, and that actually was pretty good because we had a whack of people here that never phone called before, and some people who had. And some people that didn't really believe it worked until one of our guys picked up the phone one person, and got an appointment. Just like that. Did he get the listing? Not sure, but I know he got an appointment right away. Some other people had never phone called before, and they wanted to, the reason why they came, they wanted to see somebody else phone. Right, so you got on the phone yourself, Jenny, you got on the phone some people. And but we're telling you, we don't necessarily, if you're afraid of the phone, that's fine. Maybe you can overcome that fear, but come to the event on Wednesday at 11:30. But if you don't want to sit there and phone call, that's okay. Sit there and text your past line, text them, like just get, reach out somehow. And the purpose of this whole exercise here is to overcome that fear, see that other people are there too, and realize that it's not the end of the day when you do it. It's actually pretty good. So it's just one more pillar. You've got your pillar with your emails, you got your pillar with the phone and texting, and talking about farming here. I said there's 22 homes, so you might want to consider farming as well. But to answer Beal's question there, yeah, we listings is the name of the game. Listing just solves everything. Or what does Mike Ferry say? Prospecting solves everything. Right? Solves all your problems, right? You got money problems, you got time problems, you got spouse problems. Prospecting and listings take care of everything. Is that true?
That's true.
It's have more. There's no magic pill, right? Options. Call your clients, make sure everybody knows what's going on. The market's fine. If you're thinking about selling, you should consider selling it sooner than later, because some guy says the price is going to go back to 2014. If you're thinking about buying, you might as well buy now, because the prices have adjusted to the point where it makes no difference. You're paying the same monthly for that house than you were in February, so the monthly payment's the same. Sense to me. Anybody have any properties they want to talk about? Anybody do any open houses on the weekend? Look at Alex here. Did you, Alex?
Yeah, I have 17 people in 2 days. Pretty good, but let's see if they actually get any buyers.
Didn't get any potential clients? No.
I was putting 2.
So 17 people, 16 people during the open house, it's fine. And what's going on with that property? You doing offers this week? Or? So this is a property we had priced, I'm guessing, we had the price over, I don't know, $1 million, whatever it was, and sat there. So now we priced it down to 800 and something or other else, pulling off offers. And we'll see if that generates any activity. What's your thoughts?
Let's see, there's one or two people that have made, but until I see that on the.
Yeah, yeah. No. It's a good try. If that doesn't work, then you go back to the other strategy, right? So just try to do something. Just don't sit there and and hope, right? So you gotta adjust it back and forth. Anything else? So Wednesday we got our session with Ginny there, so 11:30, and any other questions? Any questions on Facebook? Anybody on Facebook? One. The first one, I can't hear you. Oh no. Let's start all over again. Okay, folks. All right. So we'll see you next week. Take care.